And welcome to One Stop Co-op This is Steve. I'm here, Bairnt.
Steve, we're back again. I'm not going to go for any tricky intro like I did last time and stumble over my words. So here we are. We're here to talk about Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Boo! Steve, good to see you. How's everything going?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah, so we are here to talk about this is a co-op chat. This is a weekly chat that's kind of off the walls. Kind of do talk about whatever. So if you have other topics you want to talk about, feel free to jump in. But we normally cover cooperative news, and then we get into a discussion topic. And this week we're going to talk about cooperative games and like if we're going to have like a sorry cooperative games, obviously cooperative games. If we talk about games we play like around the Halloween time, that's like kind of fit the whole the theme and mood and everything like that. So okay, let's dive into it. 1 second. Okay. Sorry, my son is asking if I'm done yet, so he wants to play already. So
That's
okay.
right.
Yes, of course. All right, let's talk about the first game on our list. Actually, the only game on our list, to be honest, for news, and that's going to be Resident Evil, the board game. It's coming October 26th to Kickstarter. It's a 1 to 4 player game, and you might be like, you know what? Isn't there already a Resident Evil board game?
Like
And if you're
three
asking
of
that question, you're like me because I had the same question. Like, wait a
there are
second.
three of them, Steve. Three of them, I think.
That's correct. The other ones were based on Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3, and I believe this is based off Resident Evil
Oh,
1.
there might be two of them then.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, this one it sounds like it's a quick setup because you only put a few tiles on the board, but you are running around a mansion basically. So you throw stuff down, and you'll be adding more mansion tiles as you explore. There's going to be enemies that you have to manage your resources, like you have to manage your bullets, you can fight and try to run away from. There's doors with lots of puzzles you have to try to solve. Kind of
Okay.
sounds like Mansions of Madness a little bit in that sense. So if you know that game, this will maybe a similar feel. Don't know all the details of it, but at least that sounds like what they're going for. And this one's by Steam Forge Games.
I see. That might be a game I'll look into. I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil genre. I have all played all the games. I am super excited. I have not played the board games though, just all the video games.
Mm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
so, and actually, if anybody's interested, I got a notice from Oculus that Resident Evil 4 is now on Oculus. If that's not terrifying enough, there we go.
let's,
Wow.
let's immerse you in this horror
Oh
scene,
my
right, in
god.
3D.
You know, I played some of this VR stuff, and my friend told me, "Hey, you should get this game called Flashpoint." I'm like, "Okay, Flashpoint, sure, whatever." So it's this game on PlayStation VR where you have this little gun and you're walking around, and you're shooting like these alien things. I didn't realize he did not. He failed to mention that these aliens were going to look like giant spiders. And there's nowhere on there does it say if you have arachnophobia, you might not want to play this game. I screamed and cowered in the corner for so long playing this game because I am deathly afraid of anything with more than four legs. So it's probably one of the most horrific experiences I have ever had in my entire life.
Oh yes, that's so funny how we can get so involved in those video games and have lots of scares. I've seen my wife play a few video games where there's a scare moment and she's actually like thrown the control on the ground and sprinted out the door. So
Yes, when we play scary games together with my wife, she's usually under the covers. Is it okay yet? And I'm like, not yet. You're going to stay under the covers.
cool. Um, yeah, for news wise, this is the only confirmed cooperative game I'm talking about this week. There are two other games I'll mention. I don't have any illustrations pulled up because I wasn't quite sure if these are cooperative or not, to be honest. But a lot of people might already know. But Marvel Dice Throne is coming to crowdfunding this week as well. So if you know Dice Throne, the game, this is going to be the same thing, but now with Marvel superheroes, which is super cool. I love my Marvel, but I'm pretty positive that that game is going to be competitive. However, I assume it's going to work with Dice Throne Adventures, which is their cooperative experience where you can plug and play things into that system. I assume
Mhm.
so, but I don't have confirmation of that.
Well, you have to keep us updated, Steve, because I know if it had Marvel superheroes after our theme discussion last week, I'm sure you're going to pick it up.
I hope not. My wallet's gonna hate me. So, oh yeah, Snows also agrees with the big arachnids is a huge no-no. So, Yeah, they put warnings for
Interestingly
all
enough,
the stuff, but not arachnophobia. That's true.
yeah,
It's a very common phobia. It's true.
it is. Interestingly enough, I was playing a Marvel game recently. I forget the name of it on my Xbox, and actually the expansion did have a tag that said, "Beware if you have arachnophobia. This might you might be tough." Like, but it was
Oh,
just like robotic spiders or something. So I was able to beat them up with power with one of Captain America and stuff. So I had no problem doing that. But it was like just because it wasn't as real as like something in VR is just out of control real. It's
oh
like
yeah,
super real. It was
oh
so
yeah.
bad. So. Huh. That was
I've
something.
seen those videos of people who are like standing at like the edge of a cliff in
Yeah.
VR, and then like someone comes behind and taps them, and they like, oh, they flail as they feel like they're actually falling. Right? It's
Yeah.
funny how your mind can
That, that
play tricks on you like that.
that sounds like a very mean trick.
Oh yes, oh yes. Okay, so there's one other game to mention. This is also one I couldn't confirm. Well, sorry, I can confirm it's semi-cooperative. So it makes me wonder that you might be able to make it work cooperative, but I can't confirm it. And that is Escape from Arkham Asylum. So speaking of another superhero game, so this one, I love the theme of this one. It's pretty cool. So basically, you are playing as the supervillains in Arkham, and your goal is to escape the prison. And Batman is the bad guy in the game. So that's pretty cool. And Batman's controlled by an AI, I'm pretty sure. And I think it's semi-cooperative because you're bad guys. You're probably doing a bunch of take that to try to stop each other from escaping. But
Sure.
it also sounds like the game ends once everyone escapes as well. So I don't know if it's like one of those things that like you can play it semi co-op, but you can also play full co-op. I don't know, so I didn't have this pulled up as a strict illustration, but I wanted to mention it.
Sounds like a pretty cool game. I will keep my eyes out on that one. I'm always a big fan of being Scarecrow and trying to escape from Arkham Asylum. It's one of my favorite Batman villains.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I love Mr. Freeze. I
Yes.
I like how he's like evil, but like not. I don't know. He's just got interesting dynamic. I like his character.
Steve
So
always likes to find the good in everybody.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
Nope. I just like the full crazy guy.
Yes.
Fear and terror in everyone. Very Halloweeny.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yep. Okay, let's. That's basically all the previews we have. So let's get into the discussion topic. Let's talk about some Halloween games. Okay, so I was going to focus. Of course, we do cooperative stuff here, so it's going to focus on a bit of the cooperative experiences. But there's actually quite a few cooperative games that would fit into like a Halloween party theme. I was thinking about like, well, there's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them for like different age groups too, and different types of groups. I would say as well. So I let me start with one that I played with my son quite a bit, and this is one of the kids games that I enjoy a lot, and it's the probably only game I recommend that actually has roll to move. And that one's Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunter. You played this one, haven't you, Bairnt?
That was the one I was going to talk about.
Ah, yes. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yes,
Oh,
that's the one I was going to talk about. That's a great game. We actually play it. We played it just recently. It's good fun.
yeah, something about it. I mean, normally I don't like roll to move. I mean, sometimes it's fine in games, but like this one, I don't know if I played with adults. I think it's strictly a kids game. Do you agree with me on that one?
I agree with you on that. We've only played with our kids. I wouldn't bring it out with my friends.
Okay, yeah, the same way. But yeah, you are running to a haunted house, and your goal is to. Well, it depends if you have the expansion or not, I guess. But you're trying to either remove these cursed gems, I guess you call them, out of the house, or if you have the expansion, you're trying to bring them in a specific order into the basement.
Mm.
And all the while, you have ghosts appearing in the rooms. If enough ghosts appear in the rooms, it becomes a haunting room, and to fight the hauntings, you have to like work together to take care of it. And I don't know, it's just a fun, quick game with fun like cutesy artwork. So like the kids aren't going to get scared of this one at all. If you're worried about that type of stuff, it's totally great for kids.
Hmm. I totally agree. We've had an absolute blast playing this. Roll to move is fun. We always get to laugh when somebody rolls a one, which is terrible. This die that you're rolling, of course, also has a ghost on it on 5 of the sides. A 6 is a fantastic number to roll. You don't spawn any ghosts. And the way you win, like Steve says, you bring the gems out. The way you lose is if you cannot place a haunting miniature on the board.
Yep.
So you're going to be drawing cards and placing these ghosts, and so you have to try to take out the ghosts, otherwise you'll eventually lose to all these hauntings. It's super gratifying when you take out a haunting, because that's almost like taking out 3 ghosts, because it takes 3 ghosts to put a haunting down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of fun. You're right. Roll to move. It works really well. I do not have the expansion, so we have only escaped the gems. We have not played on any other difficulty. There's also multiple difficulties. You can make it so you have to take the gems out in a numerical order,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds ridiculous because we could barely win normally. Come on, man.
Yeah, it's hard. We play in that one. It's very difficult. So there's other things you can do with like there's trapdoors and stuff. It's fun. Snow had an interesting comment. I want to bring up real quick. It says, "I was thinking about the whole thing about horror games. Like it's usually considered ghosts and such, which is true because it's like around the setting. But she mentioned like games like Grizzled and Maquis are much horror too, which is interesting. That's an interesting idea, and it's a different type of horror, right? Like you're talking about like so if you're not familiar with those games, Grizzled is World War One, right? Setting. So you're trying to just survive with your fellow friends on the front line. So yeah, and the game itself is not graphic anyway. It's just kind of a pattern matching game. So nothing bad about the artwork, but like the theme for sure would definitely be horrorish in that one. And then Maki is the kind of the same thing where you are trying to survive oppression, I guess we'll say, and trying to work together to complete some resistance objectives and movements. So that's a different approach to it. That's kind of cool. And Snow also mentioned this season might be the best for Bairnt because just play Alien. He has only 20 games with that theme, which is totally true. So.
I've got way more than 20 Aliens games. No, I don't. I've got
yeah, I think you do.
But it's very true. I actually, off camera for just a second before we started, I was telling Steve, I was trying to figure out what games to talk about, and I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Rolling Solo just put up a top 15 horror games, I think, yesterday. And of the 15 games, I think I have 13 of them, and I think I put 12 of them on my channel already. So apparently I like this Steve. There's a lot of really fun games out there that you can play that are not kid games. But I do have one more kid game because it's cool. We enjoy this one. It's that Zombie Kids or whatever, the one where you're rolling dice and taking out zombies inside your school. And I think there's an expansion coming, or it's already out, I forget, for this game. But it's kind of got this legacy element. It's kind of neat. We've kind of slowed down on it because my youngest is afraid of the zombies getting power-ups. He doesn't like that. He thinks that's pretty terrifying that they can power up. Why don't we get to power up? Like, we did power up, but my guy didn't power up. Nope, not yet. You got to get to that envelope. Well, the zombies all powered up. Yeah, it's true. They did some power up. Yeah, so we've had a little struggle with that, but it's that's a fun game. That one's fun. You roll the dice. It's really quick, really simple, but I think the legacy element itself really makes that game come to life because it keeps bringing new elements into the game that kids really enjoy, like opening and seeing what comes next. I think it's called Zombie Kids, I think, if I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that one, I know Mike is very high on that one too. I have not played
He was the reason I got it.
That's the reason you got it, yeah. Mike has that effect. It's like, oh, actually, we all do. Like, Colin's mentioning a game too, like, oh, you should go buy this one. Oh, thanks, Colin. My wallet doesn't like you, but thanks. So.
Yeah, I know. It happens a lot. Yes. You're all my catalysts, I tell you.
Exactly. Dan mentioned I considered Horrified a kid-friendly game, easy mechanics, nothing extra scary happening. Yeah, that's another good one to mention for that. I've not played the Horrified at all. Have you played Bairnt?
No, that's why it didn't make my list. But yes, it's actually one of the 15 that Adam had put on his list that I had not played yet. And I think the reason I didn't is Colin has it, and I just haven't borrowed it from him to play yet. And I have the Alien one, which is very similar in style.
Yeah, Nostromo, right? That one. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just pick up and deliver and fun. Yeah, it sounds cool. I like how each of the monsters has something different you have to do with them, which is kind of cool. That's one I do want to play at some point. It's a good one.
True.
Yeah,
you got a collage. You got a collage of games over here. It looks like.
Oh, quite a few. I didn't know what we were going to talk about exactly, so I put a few of them on there. Just
well, you got Arkham Horror up there. That was one I was going to talk about. Colin just did a playthrough of it.
Uh-huh.
third edition. I was actually planning to do a playthrough as well. I haven't had a chance to get up there, but I want to get up. Actually, I might start recording it tonight because my D&D group was going to get together tonight, but we decided they're busy tonight. So I'm going to actually maybe record Arkham Horror tonight or start, because the only hard part about Arkham Horror third edition. It's a long game, so it takes a while to get like through it. If you're doing well, if you're not doing well, it can get over pretty quick, which is how it works.
Yeah, and I'm curious. You do. I feel like that Arkham Horror game, the third edition, is pretty divisive. At least amongst our community we talk about. 'Cause I know Mike doesn't quite for it. Colin likes it quite a bit, other than the length. I'm with Colin. I like it quite a bit as well. What do you fall on that spectrum, Bairnt?
I fall on the spectrum that I have the third edition. I've never played two, so third is awesome.
It
I
was.
actually, yeah, I've never played the second edition, and yes, you're right. I think a lot of this happens when it comes to games that keep the same name but go to a different edition. You're always going to have those core group that's like, oh, this is great. For example, outside of Fantasy Flight, which seems to do it a lot, Myth now under Ulysses Spiel. I did that playthrough of the new way they're planning to do Myth, kind of almost Myth like second edition, and I'm going to say I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like the new movement system. I didn't like that treasures are flying all over the board. So we'll see how it continues to grow. But I think you're finding in a lot of places that they do second editions of games or third editions of games, they do want to adjust the rules to make it a different type of experience.
Hmm?
And so you're going to have those people that are polarizing on either side of it. We're now seeing it in Descent was another one that's happened where the second edition people are really like, this is awesome. Not all. I mean, of course, there are people who have played second edition that think that the new one's probably great. I don't know. But when you don't have the other one to compare it to and you enjoy the one you have, that is going to be the one you really like.
Yeah, I know my local buddy in town I meet up with Tarek. He has all of Arkham Horror second, and I know for him he didn't care for Arkham Horror third at all because here's my here's my comparison of this is an awesome experience, and then why is this one different, right? So I think it gets
Mhm.
into that a bit. Well, there might be also some other reasons on top of that, of course, too. Dan mentioned he's got Eldritch Horror was his first, which is also a very good horror game. That one's really cool because you're going around this huge like global map, and it feels almost like a weird horror spin on like Indiana Jones setting, going on adventures. But yeah, Arkham Third Edition is one I enjoy quite a bit, other than the length. So
And of course, the LCGs are there as well, which are fantastic. That would
oh
be
yeah,
another way to go. So,
definitely. Yeah, and it's funny because even in within certain games, you can have a horror setting as well. Like I know I didn't do it this year, but last year I did a Street Masters play, which was all horror. I grabbed like a chainsaw lady and goblins, and I put it in a balcony setting in like a mansion, and I grabbed like a vampire hunter, and I can't remember who I grabbed as well, but like
oh yeah,
very much a horror setting in the what we consider like a martial arts type game. So.
hmm
Oh yeah, Snow mentioned the most horror games are that she has is Machina, Arcana, and Gears of War. So
yes,
she
Machina
has.
Arcana is one that, believe it or not, of again going back to Roland. The reason they keep coming back to his list is if you're looking for my top 15, you could pretty much just go watch his, because that was pretty much my top 15. This was Machina Arcana was the one that didn't make his list. I don't know if he hasn't played it or if it didn't just wasn't a game of his. But yes, that one to me is amazing. That's another one I'm hoping to get to the channel before the 31st. I'm running out of time, but I'm trying to get some good fun horror games to the forefront as fast as I can. I've already been doing some folklore, which I consider is kind of got that gothic-y horror
Yeah.
aspect to it. It's kind of a stretch, I think, to bring that one in, but the story itself is very gothic. I mean, even the one we're doing right now, this guy's like chopping off body parts and using them to create like these flesh golem creatures. So, I mean, it seems pretty scary to me. I would want to meet him in a dark alley, that's for sure. So, which we did. We met him in a dark alley. It was something else, I'll tell you. So, it does have that horror aspect to it.
I will say, since we're mentioning Rolling Solo a lot, that he's if you're not familiar with him, he's another content creator on YouTube. Focuses on solo play, of course, but a fantastic content creator. I highly recommend his stuff. He does awesome work.
Yes, very
Uh,
much so.
oh
One
yeah,
of the best.
absolutely. I was gonna say something else based upon that. Oh yeah, speaking of like games that have a horror twist but aren't strictly in the horror category, Like even stuff like Reichbusters, which I don't have on here or anything, could be considered that way because you're going through it's like a World War II, and they're taking like the fallen soldiers and turning them into like weird machination zombies type characters with this like
Hmm.
occult like magic and stuff like that. So that's also another one that's kind of weird.
And
Um,
guys, if we keep talking enough, somehow I guarantee you that Steve will figure out a way to make U-Boat a horror game.
no, there's too many tears in that game. I cannot figure out how to captain that game. I'm the worst captain ever.
Oh, it's so
Hey, they're
good.
above us. What should we do? Shut off the motor and wait for them to go away? They're not
Ram it.
leaving.
Ramming
Oh crap!
speed.
Yeah, well,
Ramming speed.
exactly.
But there's a lot of really fun. I mean, and even like some of my favorite ones, like Nemesis, is I would consider a horror game. I mean, it's a very tense game as you're going around. You never know what's going to draw out of this bag. The monsters are overpowering, and I mean, even on the board, their miniatures stand like 3 times the size of your guy. I don't know how they get around that ship, but it could be considered a horror game, and of course, it falls in the alien category, where you could then play Alien Legendary, which is not. It could technically be a horror game. I mean, it's got bad things happening to you all the time, but it's it's hard. It's a harder one to place there because I don't really envision the horror in it. But then you see games like was it the no, I've totally forgot what it was. It's the one by Dimension Games that Peter and I think Mike really enjoy as a dungeon crawler that have the horror aspects, very deep six or Leviathan type feel
Oh
to it. It's
yeah,
underwater. Now
underwater.
I can't.
What's it?
Deep
Oh,
Ri- no Dead Deep Rising? No, Deep Rising's not it. I
oh,
haven't
what's the
read
name of
that.
that game? I know exactly what you're talking about. Someone in
Deep
chat might
Madness.
mention it.
Madness. I have it. Deep Madness. There we
Thank
go.
you,
Found it.
thank you.
There it is. There's another one. But that one's really good. And that one really fits the style. Even Shadows of Brimstone. I mean, you're fighting Cthulhu monsters. I mean, that's kind of a horror-y aspect too. I mean, does it have the whole it's more of the horror aspect of what you're fighting. Like I see your little collage there has Zombicide, which again is very horror-y, but it's not scary horror. It's just
Right,
you're fighting zombies.
right,
You know
right,
what I
right.
mean? Now, see, I've never played Zombicide. I probably should sometime.
Oh, really? Wow.
I like the move. I like Steve's move.
Well.
He's about to say, "What? You never played Zombicide? Oh yeah, you never played Contra. I mean, here we go again."
So yeah, Zombicide is one I wanted to bring up specifically because I've had a lot of fun with that one for a party style or a party number of players, but not playing an actual party game itself. And what I used to do a long time ago. I would actually have like the work colleagues over around Halloween time, and we'd play Last Night on Earth, which is a one versus many game. And then I would take notes as we're playing, and I would turn that into like a news article story at the end of the night, and send it to everyone email. Hey, in this city, these people, the sheriff found the keys, and he had to save Jenny from the zombies, or whatever. And like make a whole little narrative out of it. And then eventually, what happened is that transitioned into Zombicide a little bit, which was fun. And so, what I like doing as Zombicide now is I play probably more unconventional than most people. And that a lot of times when I play it, I just make up my scenario I want to play because that way I control how long, how big the map is, all that fun stuff. But the fun thing I found doing is if I'm bringing like my colleagues in, I'll make a map to mimic something we all know very well. Maybe it's like, hey, this is the office area, right? So here's our work office. Here's the other buildings nearby that people can recognize with the streets. The same paths that the streets go that in real life. And be like, hey, if the zombie apocalypse happened at work, let's see what happened to escape, right? And then we go and play a game of that. So that's been kind of fun to like bring people in and have a more personal connection to it.
That's pretty cool, Steve.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Oh, Dan says I'm waiting for Ghostbusters Zombified to play it. Zombified? I'm guessing Zombicide. I'm guessing that's a autocorrect. But yeah, that would be awesome. Ghostbusters Zombicide. I would love that. Run around,
Good luck.
trapping ghosts.
That'd be pretty neat. I have a feeling that those IPs are captured by certain companies already that are going to be hard to grab away from.
I would assume so as well. But yeah, that's a good one, dude. And I guess on the flip side, the other one that's more of a party game, a true party game, I'd say, uh, that's great for adults is Mysterio. When I first played this game, I played this at Gen Con, and I think we played it probably like 8 times over the course of those 3 days or something like that. we just kept playing and playing and playing this game. We couldn't get enough of it. It was so much fun, so much fun. And this one
No,
is
that's
kind
the
of
one where you can't talk, right?
yeah. So one person is the ghost essentially, and the everyone else are psychics, I would say, and the ghost is trying to tell the psychics who the murder was, so who the murder was, or the culprit was, where it happened, and what the weapon was. And he's giving these very, very cool art, art, abstract art almost, cards to each player, and then trying to look at his cards, try to figure out like, why'd you give me this card? Is it because there's red in it, and then it's referencing the red curtains in this room or something? And so you're trying to like piece this together, and the ghost can't talk. He only communicate by these cards, these images you're giving people, and then everyone's trying to solve their own. Who did it? Where was happened? And what did they use, for example, to solve it together? It's a lot of fun.
Hmm. I haven't played that one. I should try that sometime. I have not tried it.
Yeah, it sounds weird, but it's great fun. It's great fun. Yeah, and Snow mentioned it's Dixit art style. It's exactly right. So it's very very whimsical and like there's some interesting going on. Actually, I had a funny story. Um, my brother, I was playing with my brother, and one of my friends gave my brother a card, and my brother was like so frustrated, like, "What type of clue is this? This is the worst clue ever. This is garbage. I can't figure this out." Blah blah blah. Just like you just like like just couldn't get it. And at the end, my friend's like, "Did you look at the card?" Like, "Yeah, I did." Like, in the picture is literally the item you had. Like, it was literally on the card. It's like which almost never happened in the game. And we just started busting out laughing. Like, it was so funny that like it was the most obvious card ever. And you're so used to something abstract, you just totally missed it. Totally missed it. It was
That'd
great.
be funny.
So, but yeah, Mysterio is a lot of fun. Do you recommend that one? Yeah, so Snow mentioned it's a pictures that contain a lot of things, even overwhelming, and you need to pinpoint the thing by multiple cards usually. Yeah, that's true. Or do something weird where like I know my buddy he threw down a couple cards and then I think he knew me pretty well. It was like, oh, Ratatouille. He's referencing Ratatouille, which means it has to be like the cafe or whatever card it was, and like it worked out really well. It was actually right, but you can do some fun stuff like that. By the way, Ratatouille is a great game, great movie.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's right, it is. I also would like to mention the other game that is very horror-y, because nobody ever makes it out alive, and that would be the monster of Kingdom Death. That is
mm-hmm.
the whole story. I mean, again, it's not like it's shock horror. It's more of a visual and experience of a horror type deal. It's like you've got this group of survivors trying to. It almost again feels like that you're trapped on an alien world type thing with like 30 people, and all of a sudden they're slowly being destroyed and removed from existence. Like, how is this happening? Like the whole like, oh no, we're slowly dying, and it's just a. World that of Kingdom Death itself is a very dark world, so it's another real horror game. So if you just have some extra cash laying around, pick the game up,
Yeah, it's
give it
not
a
that
shot.
expensive.
No.
No, no. It's really expensive, guys. So, are you guys playing that again this Sunday?
Yes, actually, Peter and I are playing, and we have a special guest coming on this week. Um,
Oh,
uh, One of the content creators that I know and have
I'm looking
long
at it.
time
I'll come up
follow
in a minute, okay?
is going to be able to make it on with us. It's going to be really really cool. We're going to have Doug Herring actually join us for a game.
Ooh, big special guest. Nice.
Yeah, there's a special guest announcement. You get it here first. You always learn your news at the co-op chat.
There you go. Excellent. Um, cool. Yeah, there's so many good horror games out there. I know Ghost Story is another one played. We're trying to like stop the ghost from haunting this town in the middle of the war and trying to survive long enough to take out the big bad. So that's a really fun one too. There's a lot of good ones out there.
There's a lot of really good ones. I got to do a shout out for my boy Colin. He would be also talking about Cthulhu Death May Die right now if he could, but he's not here. He's a huge fan of that game. Again, another one that you're stopping the Cthulhu bosses from joining the board. So that's definitely in the horror genre.
I have not played that game. I know a lot. Everyone like talks the game up. I really need to try that at some point. So
I think it's a great game. It never really made my list because it's not. I think I find other games more exciting than that one. I
mm.
don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because it is more of that one-off type concept.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I think what I have to do is I have to play more of it. I have to actually. My wife is very interested in this game, so actually I have to reach out to Colin and see if I can borrow his copy so that I can play with my wife. And I think another thing that helps is like if you actually immerse yourself in the game, you can really see what the plan was behind this game. And so I think if I actually sat down and really dug into this game, I think I'd really find it enjoyable.
Definitely.
And I
Definitely.
do find it enjoyable. Don't get me wrong. I like the game a lot. I just there's other games I think I'd put on the table first.
Yeah, I think a lot of these games are really good, and I think for me it boils down to three of them that I would lean towards more than others for Halloween game night, and that's the ones we already talked about: the Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters for kids,
Mm-hmm.
Mysterium for like a party environment, and then Zombicide for a non-party environment. If you do like some fun custom rules to it, it's particularly fun.
I think you picked out three very good games. They're better than the ones I thought of. So it was fantastic, Steve. I
I
think you
don't know
did a
about that.
great job. Well, I mean, especially for the party atmosphere, like you're saying. I guess I just don't have a lot of parties. I
Well,
don't
we got
own
to fix
Mysterio.
that.
I
What?
don't own Ghost Stories. I don't own all these games. I own the ghost hunting treasure hunters or whatever. I got that one. That one was fun. But more of my games, of course, are these more bigger, like epic-y type games. Like even the Arkham Horror can be this bigger type experience. I mean, I got Bloodborne as well. I talk about like death and destruction everywhere. You're trying to stop these like mutated like evil creatures. I mean, it's fun, but again, big game.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but I think what we got out of this conversation is Bairnt's hosting a Halloween party at his house in the near future, so everyone's invited. So, so we can
That's
get
right. Come on over. We're all gonna play Bloodborne
yeah, we play Bloodborne
or
exactly.
Kingdom Death. We can all play Kingdom Death together.
Ah, that's a good point, Snow. Mysterium is more of a family game. I can totally see that. Yeah, it's very yeah, it's very fun for that. So yeah, cool. I think we'll probably wrap up the chat here. So, oh, Bloodborne feels horror. The video game was scary. Yeah, no kidding. Very true. Cool. But yeah, let's wrap this up. Um, there's one other thing I want to mention, and that is One Stop Cop. One Stop Cop. What is wrong with me?
One Shop Cop. He's right around the corner. Watch out, Steve. He's
I
coming.
know. I know. One Stop Co-op Shop, we have started our Extra Life campaign this year. So there's a video on the main channel if you want to check out, kind of know a little more about it. I have a link in the description below someplace. But basically, it is a fundraising event to raise money for children's hospitals. So how it works is between now and November 6th, we're raising money. And then on November 6th, we will be doing basically a full day of like streaming games, ton of stuff. Basically, everyone's gonna be there, and I'll have the schedule to you guys soon. Because I'll be working through that in the near future, so you guys can see what's happening. But yeah, it's just all the proceeds go directly to the hospitals. One Stop gets nothing for this. We just wanted to do some good in the world. So
Let's support good in the world, and what's going to be good is Steve and I are playing a game or two together during
oh,
that time.
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. We don't get a chance to play too many games on together like that, especially on like a remote setting. So I'm really excited for that. Cool.
Very true.
Anything else you got, Bairnt?
Let's see here. So Barron's got no, I got nothing. I got really nothing else. Vikings are on bye. My fantasy football team's going into the toilet. It's about all I got. So life is glorious here over at my house. We're having a fantastic time.
Awesome.
Life is good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next stop. Bye bye.
Take care, everybody.